I've outgrown my gaming shelf. By that, I mean I desperately need to reorganize my setup. Why? Well, because I have a ton of bombshell gnarly pickups for you guys to check out, and I need room to put them. This video is not only going to show off my cool new pickups, but also show you the process of how I turned my drab shelf into something really special. And there's one big secret I want to share with you guys about how I made my collection into something visually striking, so you'll have to stick around to learn about that. Let's start with the plan. I'm going to rip everything off of my shelf to start with a blank canvas. I have so much Xbox stuff now, I think I actually have to shift the Nintendo collection into this closet. It's sad, but I don't play my Nintendo stuff nearly as much as my 360 stuff. You can see here I start dismantling my shelf. It's high time for this to happen, but it's going to be for the better, trust me. Now, I recently went to AwesomeCon, and this is where I got a lot of my pickups and got some voice actors to sign some items, so these things are really special. We'll start with 2 Switch games. One is the Naruto Ninja Storm Connections for the Switch. The game is insignificant, but I got the English voice actor for Kimimaro to sign it. You guys know I love Naruto, so this thing is really, really cool. And then I got Nier Automata signed by the voice of Eve, who actually also voiced the protagonist in Nier Replicant. I am a huge Nier fan. It is, pun intended, near and dear to my heart, so that thing was really exciting. And then I got Final Fantasy 15 for the Xbox One signed by both Noctis and Prompto, 2 of the main characters. This thing is awesome. It's now one of my prized possessions. I played Final Fantasy 15 like 2 weeks before this convention, and so it was fresh in my mind, and it is super special. And then I got this vintage Red 13 action figure signed by the voice of Red 13 in the Final Fantasy 7 remake. He said this is the first time he had ever seen that, so that is super cool. I love that he did it in red. That's going to go on top of the shelf. And then finally, for the convention pickups, I got Day of Reckoning 2 for the GameCube. This game is something I've been hunting for forever and couldn't find anywhere, complete in box. Me and my brother used to play this for hours. It's my favorite wrestling game. I'm super excited to play it again. And now we have this, the Final Fantasy VII Collector's Action Figure Collection, what have you, from 1997. This thing is awesome. Like I said with the Red 13, this is going to go right on the top of the shelf. You guys know I love these retro figure packs. I have the Ocarina of Time one on top of my shelf, you'll see. So this was awesome to pick up. I got it for like only $100 off eBay, so I am stoked on that. And now we have a huge box of games. So I am rounding out some of my favorite series of all time, Halo, Gears of War, so I can play them again. And then there are some one-offs like Tales of Vesperia and Metal Gear Solid that I actually haven't played yet, so I'm looking to play those. And then also there's Enter the Matrix for the GameCube, the one GameCube game in there. That game's sick. If you guys have not played it, that game is sick. Definitely underrated. And then we have this awesome Comic-Con exclusive Naruto figure I picked up. I love that in its packaging it has that background of all the shadow clones. That thing is going to go on the top of the shelf as well. I saw it on eBay and I had to pick it up. Here we also have a bust of Lara Croft from Tomb Raider. I love the Tomb Raider remakes. You'll see in the final shelf, I actually have a little section devoted to them. Those games are awesome, so I was super happy to pick that up. And then finally, something important is these acrylic display stands. I want to front face some of the games on the shelf to really highlight the ones that I like. Now, it's pretty overwhelming and crazy to see everything off of the shelf. I mean, this looks like a mess. Look at it. I look like a hoarder, but a hoarder of really cool stuff. So we are going to start putting things on the shelf. We are going to start with the Nintendo shelf, as it's a pretty easy 3 shelves to organize. What you see here actually isn't finalized either. I'll show you that in the overview at the end, but this is the basic layout. I just need to add my secret trick after this to make everything really stand out. For organizing the big shelf, I started putting my games just on the shelf to see how much raw room they took up and went from there. So in this footage, you can see me struggle a little bit. I played around with the setup for a while and I couldn't get anything I really liked. Nothing was clicking. It all just kind of felt weird. So after some time pondering and thinking about it, I came up with a layout I like, and here it is, the final shelf and final half shelf. I'm in love with this layout. The top section was actually really hard to sort out, but look at it in all of its glory. I actually had the Switch games up there for a while, but ended up deciding they didn't make sense, so they were banished back to the Switch shelf in the living room. Going top down, you'll notice I front face some important games to me, and you'll notice what I'm calling my secret trick behind all of the games, the manuals and guides. These things have been a new favorite of mine to collect, and I may actually do a whole separate video on these. Not only are they awesome to line shelves shelves with to really give them a full, more interesting aesthetic look. They're pretty cheap. I got all these from anywhere from $5 to $20 a piece. You can see they really bring everything together, especially with the highlighted games. I also use them sometimes. The Zelda ones have been super helpful and give nostalgic vibes rather than just, Googling when you're stuck in a game. And then here's the full Nintendo shelf. You can see I have the NES and my Bayonetta collection up there. I couldn't actually find a good place to put those, so those are going to live there for now. But I'm curious what you guys think of the shelf and the pickups. If you have any ideas to make the shelf even better, I am all ears. Despite the trials and tribulations, this was an incredibly fun project. I'm super proud of it and I love the shelf. Thank you guys for hanging out, and if you made it this far in the video, please just hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me. Please and thank you, and I will see you in the next one.